G'day there guys, this is me and Trousers struggling to death together, but we love each other. Welcome back to another episode of r/Am I the A-hole? Now if you love today's bloody good content, I want you to sit back, relax, chuck a prawn of the Barbie, and get ready for some more bloody good content. Thank you. Posted by user, Am I the A-hole spoiled daughter? Titled, Am I the A-hole for telling my wife to stop babying our daughter? So my wife and I have a daughter, Ava, 13. My wife is a great mum and takes good care of Ava, but lately I feel like she's spoiling Ava and not letting her be as independent as she should be. Some examples of this are, Ava struggles in school, so my wife emails all of Ava's teachers to ask for modified assignments. She has an individual education plan, which I feel is unneeded, but that's a different story. And sits down with her every day after school to do homework with her, or do projects or study for tests. I don't think Ava's done a single assignment alone this year. Then today, Ava assumed the weather would be like yesterday, 50 degrees and windy, so she dressed for that weather without checking the weather app on her phone or tablet. Today was 80 degrees and sunny, so my wife ended up sending cold water bottles to Ava's classes and made her spend recess and lunch inside. My wife is a teacher at that school, so that's how she was able to do that, so she wouldn't get heat stroke. It was only 80 degrees, and the lunch tables are all in the shade, so Ava would have been fine outside. Even an hour ago, Ava came to us and said that her head hurt and she was nauseous, so my wife is in Ava's room rubbing her back to comfort her, over a damn headache. In my opinion, Ava needs to learn how to function on her own, so I told my wife to stop babying Ava and to let her take care of herself. She can study for a test by herself, or take a Tylenol and go to bed without mummy being there to hold her hand and rub her back, and to stop trying to get Ava out of situations like today. She can deal with being a little hot for a couple hours and learn to check the weather app in the mornings. Well, now my wife is refusing to talk to me, and is planning on sleeping in the guest room tonight, so I wanted to see if I was the a-hole. It's really weird to me that you're asking if you're the a-hole or not in this situation, but by now does it really matter? Shouldn't the question be, how do I apologize to my wife for upsetting her and causing unnecessary disruption in the household? Like, what's the best case scenario of you being told you're not the a-hole in this situation? Is she magically gonna not sleep on the guest room and she's gonna be like, you know what, you're right, I was wrong, I've acted unnecessarily, I'm stupid. Everyone in this world is different. Everyone's children are different to everyone else's children. I feel like you're leaving out a lot of information about Ava. If Ava needs an IEP, there's obviously something going on. Your wife teaches at the school, so it's very obvious that she knows that Ava needs the IEP. I can agree with you that Ava shouldn't have assumed the weather would be 50 degrees and windy. She should have checked the app and brought a change of clothes in the case that this does happen. And I'm sure now she's made this mistake, she's going to learn to do that in the future. Although I don't know where you get off on attacking your wife or comforting your daughter when she's nauseous. What's so bad about rubbing her back because she has a headache and she's feeling sick? Like, should Ava get angry at you if your wife has a headache and you go and rub her back while she's trying to sleep, and you comfort your wife? I really think we should petition Ava to start yelling at you and say that you're babying your wife when your wife is sick. Just tell your wife to take a Tylenol and go to bed without you, 'cause that's normal, right? So from where I'm standing, I think you've acted like an asshole in every situation that's gone on here. You seem to lack patience, you seem to lack self-awareness, and you seem to lack understanding for others. So I'm gonna have to go with you're the a-hole here. Now in the comments, who, what, no, what says, you're the a-hole. She's 13. You ask her to be independent, but you're always there to back her up if she needs it. Maybe you can figure out some opportunities for Ava to try things herself for a bit before your wife jumps in. But your wife should be free to jump in whenever she thinks it's needed. Also, if she didn't need an IEP, she wouldn't have one. Or it would just say go to class like a normal kid. You're an ass. Yes, this reads like the daughter is some sort of learning disability to me. It's concerning that OP doesn't think his daughter needs one, but the school obviously does. I commented elsewhere, but I suspect OP has the same issues the daughter has. but maybe resents her for getting the help that he was refused? That's a pretty big leap. Like, not impossible, but one of dozens of possibilities. Look, I know it's a leap, but not unheard of. I had a similar but different situation with my dad. He became a bully because I wasn't being bullied at school like he was, obviously leaving a lot out. However, it's definitely possible. Either that or my next best guess is Opie is one of those mental health isn't real, or maybe an ableist kind of guy. And another comment says, "You're the a-hole. She has ADHD, anxiety, 2 autoimmune diseases, and low blood pressure. She also fainted 2 weeks ago? Where's your compassion and empathy? She's a 13-year-old girl. If she needs attention, even if you feel she's just attention-seeking, your job as a father is to give it to her so she doesn't end up trying to find male attention other places when she's older. I've seen that situation play out many times with girls I know. Although I suspect the attention she gets from your wife is necessary and legitimate, and not just spoiling, as you say. Right? I was thinking at first this is a lot of enabling behavior. Then I read that comment and reread the story. Seriously, that's a lot of issues, and Ava needs help. Opie, you're the a-hole. What the hell? Until that, I was everyone sucks here because some of what the mum does is a bit overboard, but a child with special needs needs extra hands-on help. Opie sounds a lot like my dad. He always thought my sister and I were being dramatic and weak and just needed to suck it up and deal with it. Then we were diagnosed with various chronic conditions. My sister has severe anxiety, we both have an autoimmune disease, I also have arthritis and a circulatory issue. Thankfully, when we were diagnosed, my dad got better about recognizing how different our experiences were, and that chronic conditions aren't something you can just suck up and get over. You're the a-hole, OP. I would highly suggest learning more about chronic conditions and developing some empathy for an experience that you cannot possibly relate to. My relationship with my dad got a lot better once he started recognizing how much different my experience was, and just truly how much pain I'm in and how hard that is to live with. Our next post is by user Kinda Just For Fun 5627, titled, "Am I the a-hole for embarrassing my brother's friend's parent when she thought that I'm the housemaid?" So, I, 16 female, have no idea how genetics work, but my maternal grandmother had dark skin, while my grandfather had fair skin. My mother was born relatively fair, and so was my father, but I ended up with the same dark skin as my grandmother. My 2 brothers, 2 male and 5 male, are fair too, making me stand out a little. So what happened was that my brother had just turned 5, and my parents invited 4 of his friends and their parents to our house for a small party. I was cleaning the things in the kitchen while my mother went upstairs for her medicine, which is not related to the story, when I was approached by one of the parents who passed me some plates to wash and asked if I could speak English, to which I replied yes, as a second language. Which is not a lie because it is true for me and my whole family. And then she proceeded to ask me about how long I've been staying here, how's my family, etc. By that time, it was pretty clear to me that she thought I was the housemaid. Instead of correcting her, I decided to entertain myself by playing along. I started to refer to my parents as sir and madam, and cooked up a whole load of bullcrap to answer her questions about my life. When I was done cleaning, I went back to the hall with the parent and mischievously called my brother young master, which confused him. And then my mother came downstairs and I called her madam too, to which she immediately realized what had happened and told me to stop it, also telling the parents that I am her daughter, the sister of the birthday boy. I have to admit, everyone laughed a little at the misunderstanding, but instead of laughing it off too, the parent became very red in the face. She apologized and then took her kid and left the party, just like that. It was kind of awkward for a while, but the party went on without them since there are still 3 more kids with my brother. My parents told me after the party that I've taken it too far by embarrassing the parents and wanted me to apologize to her next time we meet, if there is a next time. I refused to because I think she kind of asked for it. I could not stop myself from having a little fun. And who the hell just assumes someone to be the housemaid and get all nosy about her life? Am I the a-hole for embarrassing her? Extra info, this is actually not the first time I pulled something like that, because I get mistaken as adopted or a baby sister sometimes, and I tend to troll them a little and they usually laugh it off after knowing the truth. This, however, was the first time I got mistaken as a maid or housekeeper in my own damn home. The only way that I can reason you being an a-hole in this situation is that your actions got the kid taken away from the party, and it's not that kid's fault and the kid doesn't deserve it, poor kid, and you escalated a situation that didn't need to be escalated. But I really don't think those arguments hold water. That's kind of an afterthought from what she assumed. Her assumptions made an ass out of her, absolutely. The only way that I can kind of reason this not being extremely racist was maybe it's another country where people do have maids still. And I'm sure the USA still does have maids working in some houses. But from my experience here in Australia, that is absolutely not a thing. And if it is, it's very rare. From the get-go of this situation, it just seems like blatant racism. That's all I can really put this down to. You've obviously had a history of copying this from people, and I can see instead of you reacting, negatively to this situation, you flipped it and you've made a joke out of it. You also at the same time made a joke out of her, and I can respect it that you were able to keep your composure that whole time. I would absolutely break. I'd probably laugh too much at it and break character. At the end of the day, this woman couldn't keep her composure and laugh at it like everyone else was able to. So going back to those first, things that may have made you an a-hole, that makes her an a-hole for doing this. It doesn't even sound like she apologized for what she had done. So I'm going to put you a squarely not the a-hole judgment here. Now in the comments, Frosty Tumbleweed 215 says, "Not the a-hole. In my opinion, what you did is hilarious. She's an adult woman and a mother. She could have just taken the embarrassment like an adult, apologized and laughed at herself. But she had to make it extra awkward by leaving and taking her kid away from the party. Oh, also, she totally has some obviously racist preconceived notions about skin tone, and absolutely should have known better than to assume you're a housemaid. Oh my god. She may not have been trying to be malicious. I could be wrong, of course. But she's at least racist through ignorance. She saw darker skin and thought, housemaid. I just can't with these people. Edit. Just want to say I don't think there's anything wrong with anyone choosing to be a housemaid, au pair, nanny, or any job like that. But the history of black and brown women being housemaids is steeped in racism, and assuming a darker-skinned woman is a housemaid based purely on her skin is racist. Good secondary point, because right now I'm feeling badly for every person employed in any service industry who happens to have a dark complexion. I've been a troll, I can't judge. Glass houses. Say I saw someone cleaning up, I would probably assume they're family or family friend. Who even has maids besides rich people? I'm used to the family members collecting dishes. I mean, that was expected when we had friends over. Someone offers to clear up the table. You don't make guests do it. I can understand you're frustrated, OP. I'm white, but I'm autistic and LGBT, etc. And if someone assumes stuff about me, I would get mad too. But honest mistakes happen. Maybe next time see if they apologize, sincerely. But even if I didn't realize the OP was the sister, which I freely admit might have been the case were I this woman, I'd have assumed family friend or cousin or something, and I certainly wouldn't have started yapping to her about whether or not she speaks English and where her family is from. It reeks of, oh look how progressive I am, talking to the help, as if she's a real person with an interesting life story of her own, instead of background decoration. It's such white liberal performative wokeness that's actually just super racist and condescending. And 7 That's a Nope says, not the a-hole. That mum was looking for trouble. How racist do you have to be to assume a teenager surely has to be a maid just because she's doing dishes and happens to have darker skin? And, on top of that, how entitled do you have to be to pry and ask so many personal questions? Yeah, you maybe took it a bit far and were immature about it, but you're 16, so you're a bit immature by definition. Maybe you could go with a half-assed, backhanded apology along the lines of, "I'm sorry if you were embarrassed that I played along with your assumption that I was a maid." It may also be that she was fishing to see if OP was being trafficked. I don't want to downplay the fact that very often, people are making racist assumptions, and that people like OP are rightfully exasperated at not being seen as part of their family by outsiders. That's a huge issue all on its own. But I want to cautiously bring up another side of a very serious issue. Modern-day slavery is a huge problem around the world, including in the US. Young girls, among many other victim profiles, young, adult, male, female, all for different reasons, are trafficked to be used as domestic slave labor. To people outside the family, they appear to be a nanny, a maid, or au pair. And they happen in totally normal, unassuming households where you'd think for a moment that the person you're talking to is keeping a slave. "Oh, she's my niece," and "she's the daughter of a family friend, she's staying with us for schooling," is often used to allay suspicion when child slaves are involved. When adults are the victims, people often assume they're being paid. I don't know what country OP is in, and what the norms for domestic labor are. I also don't know how the mother came across when she started asking these questions, or how they were framed, nor do I actually know her motivation. But OP's specific situation aside, people should be alert for signs of human trafficking where they least expect to see it. You can read about it more here. I put that link down in the description if you guys want to read it. Anyone implying that someone who is a family member is actually a servant is obviously insulting to said family member. So of course OP is insulted and wants to take the mickey out of the mother in this story. I really can't blame OP for that. But the answers she was giving this woman might have all fit the profile of someone who might be a victim of trafficking, and if the woman's intention was to find out more to try and help, then it makes sense that she would continue asking for more information. Again, I really don't know how she was coming across to OP, but most people don't make a small talk or chit-chat with someone they assume to be a maid unless they have a reason, which is why I'm even suggesting that human trafficking might have been on her mind in the first place. The attitude that a person's place in a family can never be questioned, and that it's automatically racist to do so, can contribute to the continued invisibility of modern slaves in everyday life. Modern slaves can come from home and abroad, but immigrants are at a significantly higher risk of being trafficked, and plenty of immigrants to other countries bring slaves with them. Sometimes they're from the same ethnic background, sometimes they're not, sometimes they're young like OP, sometimes they're in their 40s and 50s. There's an 11-year age gap between OP and her younger brother. That's a little unusual. If English is OP's second language, and she's being asked if she speaks English, that suggests that her family moved from a non-English dominant country to an English-dominant country. Add on that she looked distinctly different from both her parents and her siblings, and the context in which this woman saw OP cleaning up, and it's not entirely out of left field for her to piece together that assumption. If she'd seen OP lounging around playing video games and snapped at her for lazing around and not doing her job, then yeah, of course that's clearly just a bunch of racist bullcrap. But the questions this woman was asking, and the context in which she began and continued, asking them might have been a good faith attempt to make sure OP wasn't a minor being enslaved for domestic labor. That was a really long comment, I understand, but I wanted to put it out there for visibility. That's a really different way to look at the situation, and I absolutely agree that this possibly could have been human trafficking. I also looked further down the comments, and there's some everyone sucks here, and you're the a-hole judgments on this one too. So this is a very divisive subject, it looks like. Speaking of divisive subjects, our next post is by user OKMine2000, titled, "Am I the a-hole for not telling my mate his sister has an OnlyFans?" So me, 22 male, and my mate, 22 male, Have been mates since we were kids and have always been real tight. We are pretty open with each other and there aren't any secrets in our friendship up until now. Not gonna lie, he's the golden child of his family and receives a bunch of support from his parents. His sister is 21 female and she cops it bad. They treat her like crap. Her and I get along well, and she's like that annoying little sister, but we're cool and get along. About a month ago, I was on OnlyFans because reasons. I came across a profile and clicked on it. Didn't recognize the name or anything, but when I looked at the pics, I saw a tattoo I did recognize that belonged to my mate's sister Belle. There were also other identifying features. I crapped myself and instantly clicked off the profile. She's got a fake name on there, but there were a few things that identified her. I never would have clicked on her profile if I'd known that it was her, and I wanted to, I guess, respect her right to be anonymous on the website. I thought about things for a few days, and eventually messaged her the following with the intention of helping her out. I said, "Hey Belle, this is really awkward for me, and I hope you understand that I'm coming from a place of concern rather than anything else. I came across your OnlyFans the other day when at first I didn't know it was you. I clicked off once I realized. Just a heads up, I could identify you from your tattoos and other details, and I'd hate for your anonymity to be compromised if you continue to post since you have a fake name and all. I'd suggest blurring out these features, but if you're not bothered by this, then keep doing what you're doing. Just thought I'd touch base to be safe. I hope you're doing well, and again, I hope you understand that I'm just looking out for your safety. See you soon." She replied and was thankful that I pointed that out. She thought her tattoos and other features weren't unique enough to identify her, and she told me that she'll make a change. I saw her a couple days later at a party, and she gave me a hug and things are back to normal. Fast forward, somebody else identified her and had been collecting images from before I messaged her up until now. They sent them to her parents. Nobody knows who this person is, they remained anonymous. Belle's parents ripped into her, and my mate went on a huge rant on Facebook, calling her all kinds of names. I didn't comment anything other than, "You need to loosen up, mate." But a lot of our friends are on his side saying that they'd be ashamed if she was their girl. He came over for a few drinks and began to unload on me. I didn't really react and just kept telling him to calm down. He asked why I wasn't so surprised, and I shrugged and said that a lot of girls have OnlyFans now, and that it's no big deal. Eventually, it came out that I knew. I know I should have kept my mouth shut, but he was suspicious that I kept defending a tramp. My mates have booted me out of the group chat now, and say that I broke the bro code. Believe it or not, I don't think you're the a-hole for not telling your mate his sister has an OnlyFans. She obviously was going for anonymity, she obviously didn't want her brother and parents to know about it because they don't respect her, and they'll never respect any of her choices if it is somewhere in this field. And she's obviously not the golden child, so she's not going to get that support and love that she deserves. She's 21 years old. She doesn't need to be dragged by her family and friends online and ratted out like this person for having an OnlyFans. She's not actually done anything wrong in this situation, and you've not done anything wrong by not outing her. You did right by trying to help her defend her anonymity, and of course someone else comes and ruins that for her, full well knowing what the implications will be on her and her family. OP also leaves an edit in there and says, "Edit, thanks everyone." It's a crap excuse, but I'm a tradie who's grown up around toxicity towards women, both at home and at work. So I'm trying to be better than that. It's good to know that I've done the right thing. I'll reach out to Belle tomorrow and see how she's going. So yeah, if that's how your mate was referring to his sister, obviously tramp wasn't the word, I put filters up, then Jesus. Probably for the best you got booted from that group chat. They're obviously never going to change their mind about this one, and I don't see the point in wasting your energy if you're not welcome anymore. Time to move on to better, healthier friend groups. Not the a-hole. Now in the comments, Hedgehog Undercut says, "Not the a-hole. I think you did everything 100% right. Whoever sent her pictures to her parents is a massive a-hole though." And OP replies, "Cheers. I've tried to do some digging, Belle asked me to find out who it was, but whoever it was went through some insane measures to stay anonymous. Absolute psycho. I agree with the comment above, and I've got to say, I think you handled this situation wonderfully, and you should feel nothing but pride for how you responded to everything. It's unfortunate your friend doesn't feel the same, but honestly, he doesn't really sound like the kind of friend you need in your life if he treats his sister this way. Good job, OP, and definitely not the a-hole. KK Bells says, not the a-hole. The same people calling her this are the same people looking for porn. Thank you for defending her. Yeah, you can bet that OP's friend is a consumer of smut, just as much as he looks down on the people who make it. What a bloody hypocrite. I was talking to a guy from my D&D group who told me that if he had a daughter who did sex work, he would disown her. I follow him on Twitter, and half his replies are him replying to sex workers posting nudes with stuff like, "This is my favorite thing to wake up to. Effing hypocrite." And the brass dancer says, I don't think you did anything wrong here. You were defending her right to anonymity, and she was outed to her family and your circle of friends. And screw this bro-code bullcrap. That's for children, not the a-hole. And OP replies, cheers mate. Sometimes I wonder if I'm a bit too soft, but this seems to be the general opinion. It's good to know. Treating someone's sister nicely and not sexually objectifying her sounds pretty bro-cody to me. I was just thinking that OP trying to look out for his friend's sister's safety sounds like pretty much the textbook definition of bro-code. And there's really no such thing as being too soft. You mentioned that you grew up with this toxic masculinity, and it's bullcrap. I'm glad you're seeing past that. You are your own person, and being respectful of someone is just being a decent human being. As a woman, thank you for respecting Belle and her privacy. You did everything right. All your friends are a-holes, and I would personally cut them out of my life and find decent friends, but that's entirely up to you. Alright guys, that's the end of the video. Friendly reminder that I'm now posting daily on my second channel, Markee 2. If you want to laugh at memes with me, link is down in the description below. On phone, you just click that little arrow underneath the video. I also want to say thank you to all my channel members and Patreon subscribers. Your names are currently floating down the screen here, and I love to see all of you guys. Thank you for joining me on this journey. Thank you for supporting me. I really appreciate it. If you see yourself on screen, I want you to give yourself a big pat on the back for being amazing as always, and thank you for supporting me again. I do hope that you guys have a good day, night, sleep, whatever it is you're up to. I'll see you in the next video. Bye.